One thing I have to say about this president, whether you love him or hate him, if you do this political commentary, news, whether online, on the air, President Trump is a Christmas gift that keeps on giving because there's never a dull news cycle. Normally, under the so-called proper presidential administrations, during the 2 weeks that, they're in the Christmas celebration, Congress is on recess, not spending our money or dreaming up new ways to erode our rights and take away our liberties. It's usually pretty quiet, and news outlets, their top stars are on vacation, and here come the endless parade of the year in review segments that personally I detest. That said, Donald Trump takes to Twitter to tell Nancy Pelosi exactly what he thinks of her, the fact that you people called me a national security threat, and now you're delaying bringing this impeachment to trial. It's going to be a good new year. Here we are on the dawn of 2020, and we know that this is an election year, and, Donald Trump, over the Christmas holiday, just decides to lob a couple of Scud missile tweets in the general direction of Nancy Botox Pelosi, Chuck E. Cheese Schumer, Adam Schiffless, and the rest of those ne'er-do-wells that call themselves the establishment Democratic Party, and, trying to rile up the leftist loon progressives to push Pelosi into the trial that she doesn't want. And as I've already explained, she wants to hype this up in the hopes that it creates a problem for Mitch McConnell, because at the end of the day, Mitch really is going to kill this thing, and not out of his love for the president, but out of his love to protect the establishment. There's information, even on the Republican side, they don't want coming out. They don't want coming forward. And the puppet masters behind the curtain certainly don't want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to come out regarding the attempted coup of a U.S. president. So, what is this about beyond the fact that they hate Donald Trump? He's not a member of the establishment. Well, of course, over the Christmas holiday, I, like you, spent time with family. And I gave my sister our semi-annual telephone call. We talk 2-3 times a year. Now, my kids think that's kind of strange that brother and sister, we don't talk all that often. Yet when we do talk, there's immediate connection. We don't fight. We're not anti each other. I love my sister. My sister loves me. And you know what? She and I, we're wired the same way. We have a lot of our dad in us. And we're okay. My dad could go without seeing people, even individuals that he referred to as his best friends. Years would go by. And, all of a sudden one of them would pop in and they'd sit down and talk as if, it had only been since the day before they had seen one another. And then another 2, 3, 10, 12 years might go by before they see each other again. And my dad was perfectly okay with that. And my sister and I have some of that same tendency toward one another. But I found out just what a real diehard, committed Donald Trump supporter she is. And so we had a great phone conversation. And, she made a statement about how the liberal mass media thinks that Trump is a buffoon, when in reality, these people are so stupid they don't realize how they get rolled and trolled by him, which I've been saying, of course, for years. And it's actually funny to watch because the president really does trigger them. He ignites them into absolute Trump derangement syndrome. That said, the reason the media hates him The reason the Democrats hate him, because they hate you and they hate me. He is not only a total game changer in how Washington operates right now, he is a total game changer in the political landscape of their power being stripped from them by how dare you, we, the people. Do you understand the cozy little relationship the media and the establishment have had for decades? Especially when it was just the big three giving you the news in the evening. And then, Ted Turner created CNN. And at first, CNN tried to, be the middle of the road, kind of straight down the line news source. And they were made fun of by the big three because, after all, how much news can you talk about in 24 hours? You just keep recycling the same stories over and over. Well, eventually, the people at CNN figured out the power in that, recirculating the same news stories over and over. And when CNN became the juggernaut go-to news source, well, the networks had to begin to wake up a little bit. And of course, immediately CNN was welcomed into the clique to where they too would present what they were expected to present. And even the couple of shows that they had back in the day, like Crossfire, which were designed to have, the left versus the right, conservative versus the liberal. It was all staged. It was all fake. It was all controlled opposition. Then how dare they have that little upstart channel, Fox News. And initially, it was fair and balanced. And now it's part of the whole propaganda hit parade as well. You got a couple of voices over there at Faux Pas News, formerly known as Fox News, which do give it straight, but even their hands to a certain degree are tied. They're constantly threatened with job loss, and at the end of the day, even Hannity's not going to push the envelope as far as it needs to go because he addicted to the money. And I get that. I understand that. But, there's just so much you're going to get from there. And now, of course, the media beside themselves over guys like me, alternative news outlets, alternative opinion outlets. So they've begun the big crackdown on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. So many of us are having to find other platforms and avenues to get the word out, to get our message out, which is why now I've moved to BitTube. And you need to come there. When I got there, I've been there a week. I've become the number 3 go-to political commentary. Come on over. Be a part of this. BitTubers.com. When I saw that Alex Jones has a channel there, he's number 1 on there, by the way, in the political genre, I thought to myself, well, after everybody kicked Alex Jones off, if he's here, I definitely can play here. Because I admit, I'm a softer version of that. So I thought, if he's welcome here, posting up about 40 videos a day, I'll be okay here. And as my sister and I talked, we talked about the backlash against political correctness. And eventually there's going to be a backlash, a mutiny against this censorship, which is happening not only in society, but on these social media platforms. And really, all YouTube is doing right now is fueling their competition. And at some point, I know there's about 100 knockoff versions of YouTube, and there's too many to keep straight. And I mentioned some of these to people, and they're like, I never heard of that. So we have to kind of pick one and get behind it and get it launched. For me, it's BitTube. A lot of guys like BitChute. I find it very user unfriendly. I don't like it. And even though I've got an account there, I don't know that I'll be posting any more stuff there. BitTube, very user friendly, reminds me a lot of YouTube. All you had to do was type my name into the search engine. There's my channel. BitChute, well, I don't have enough viewers yet to rate a rating and a listing in the search engine, so people have to type out my name. Very specific. You can't be off. You can't be all caps. Can't be the wrong upper lowercase. Got to get it just exactly the way they've got it, or you can't find my channel. I couldn't find my channel, and it was mine, for crying out loud. There, I vented. They hate us. I know, rotten segue. I agree. They hate us. They hate this we the people, and they had a monopoly for so long working together. The lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media that's not about news, it's about propaganda, working hand in hand with political operatives who call themselves politicians, who call themselves representatives and senators, but really the only agenda they represent, the New World Order, the One World Order, their own power, control, and legacy. And for years it was beautiful. They had Walter Cronkite doing their bidding, and the American people just swallowed it en masse. And here comes this no good upstart other medias, these YouTubers that are making videos in their dens and in their cars and at their kitchen tables, and they're watching it. I mean, Mark Dice on YouTube, 400,000 viewers a day. You understand that a guy who lives in a little apartment in California making videos at his kitchen table has a bigger viewership than Airport Terminal TV, formerly known as CNN? And he's right there on the heels of MSNBC, and this is a dude at his kitchen table. By the way, I aspire for those kind of numbers. That's why we do this. But at the end of the day, their chokehold is gone. And you did in this last election cycle what you weren't supposed to do. You're supposed to follow the script. First of all, Donald Trump should have never been the nominee. We have allowed the establishment to pick our nominees. The George Bushes, the Mitt Romneys, the John... Let's get a hairball when I start to say McCain, the traitor. And here's Donald Trump. Now, at first, the media loved him because they figured, oh, this is great. You know, he's not like a real politician. We can lampoon him and yank the rug out from under him. And what a great foil for Hillary Rodham Clinton. Hillary was so confident, she stopped campaigning. And she got her clock cleaned, embarrassed royally, which is one of the reasons Donald Trump has been impeached. You know, he got impeached for embarrassing Hillary. To which Bill Clinton responded, I did too. And that's true. But they hate us. And this impeachment is about you getting a message. Don't you ever take this political process into your own hands again. Don't you ever vote your convictions again. Don't you ever think that you get to pick who's going to lead this country. This has already been decided. You just follow the approved script. Because the elite, the deep state, the oligarch, they pick the candidates for both sides. Don't you know that? And they play out the primary process and the campaigns because it's entertainment, bread and circuses for the masses, and it makes money. But at the end of the day, there's not going to be any risk-taking or gambling. Whoever sits in that chair of the Oval Office is going to do the bidding of the deep state. And if you've ever seen the movie The Firm with Tom Cruise, there's something to that whole, they get a little dirt, little blackmail on you, so that then they own you. You never break away from the firm and talk about the illegalities that they are up to because they've got dirt and blackmail on you. Why do you think every president, no matter what platform he runs on, all of a sudden, once they get there, they operate like the guy before him? Because the firm, i.e. the intel community, gets something on them. See, Donald Trump was supposed to kowtow to James Comey and play along once he understood how powerful the intelligence community is. and he didn't play along. He flipped the script. Ronald Reagan flipped the script, which is why they did an assassination attempt on him. John F. Kennedy flipped the script, which is why they were successful in pulling off an assassination against him. And now, here's this man that they cannot believe he got elected. They cannot believe they can't make the impeachment stick. And my one fear and prayer for him is continually his personal safety, because that's next. So, unlike the other news channels and even the clickbaiters here on YouTube, I'm not making up any sensational stories right now, because it's the end of the year and everybody's on hiatus, and we got stories running of this Republican senator is going to flip and vote for impeachment. I'm not doing any of that right now. I'm just not there. I just wanted to come out today on this eve of a brand new year and just explain to you what's really happening and who the real hatred is aimed at. Because there was a time these very same people loved Donald Trump. They loved his celebrity, they loved his money, they loved his star power, they loved his brand, they wanted to be seen with him at Mar-a-Lago, they wanted VIP invitations to his beauty pageants, they wanted to be on The Apprentice. I mean, they loved this guy. He was invited to all the celebrity parties and weddings, and I mean, he was one of them. And then they found out that, politically speaking, he really isn't one of them. By the way, that said, to prove to you just how much he's not one of them, I have a brand new book in the works. It will be coming out sometime after the first of the new year. I'm going to put it out sometime around early February, going to address head-on this entire myth and lie that Christianity Today tried to perpetuate about this president, and the fact that, scripturally speaking, he's not fit to be our president and the evangelical community needs to break away from him. This is yet another plank in the deep state. Pull his base away from him. Hadn't worked thus far, so now they try to get evangelical voices to speak out against. I'm going to write and I put together a book that is dealing with the fact that this president has done more for the faith-based community than any other president and most of these so-called Christian leaders. Oh, and me being a pastor, this gonna get good. Because, I got a couple of shots to take myself. Hoping you and yours had a very Merry Christmas. I want you to have a blessed and prosperous New Year. Remember, 2020 sets the stage for 4 more years and beyond with President Trump.